Hey everybody, it's me, MiaFran again. Welcome back to my channel and to another Fruits Basket Season 3 review. Ignore the glare from my glasses. I do apologize. I really do try to make sure that it doesn't look all like this. So yeah. It's just, I gotta figure out the lighting in here, with these glasses. But anyway. We are going to be talking about episode 3 of season 3, the final season of Fruits Basket is entitled, I Hope the Snow Comes Soon, right? Is it Come Soon? Is that what it's called? I can't remember. I hope it snows soon. There, I was close. I was very close. Okay, I hope it snows soon. So, this was a very heavily, censored, heavily featured, I can't talk. This episode heavily featured Yuki and Machi. So, as we learned in the previous season, Machi and Manabe are half-siblings because Machi's... Well, they have the same dad. Basically, their dad cheated on Machi's mother around the same time that she got pregnant with Machi with this other woman who is Manabe's mother, so he's like the bastard child of their father. So they're like, that's why they go to the same school basically, but they have different last names. So we learned that last season. So they're half siblings, and we also found out that neither of them are going to be the heir of their family. The family name, because they do kind of still include Manabe in the family gatherings and shit, apparently. I don't know why. I guess they were trying to see, from what I remember, they're trying to see if either of them could become the heir. So yeah, they were kind of competing. But then Machi's mom got pregnant again when they were I don't know, middle school, high school, I guess, because they're gonna be third years now. But she has a little brother, so it's Manabe's half-brother, and they've already decided that the little brother, is going to be the heir of the family. So we learn in this episode that Machi kind of has this, it's not like a tendency to well, I guess it is a tendency. It's more like a learned behavior that she becomes upset when she sees something perfect, so perfection. And we see her looking at this new box of chalk in her classroom. And, it's perfectly opened, and you see all of the perfect little pieces of chalk. At first I didn't know what these were. I was like, what are these supposed to be? I don't know why I didn't think it was chalk, but we find that it's chalk. She knocks over the box because it's perfect, as we can see, and, or as we learn later, that between this conversation between Machi and Yuki, that she doesn't like perfection, and the reason why is because she was forced by her mother especially to be perfect, because before they had her brother, they were trying to basically make her the perfect heir for the family, so that way Manabe didn't get the heir apparent or heir title stolen from her, because it's she's the legitimate child, he's the illegitimate child. You would think that they would automatically put it on her, but no, they were kind of considering Manabe. So her mother decided, no, you need to be perfect in everything you do. You have to have perfect grades. You can't step out of line. And so Machi grew up under this immense pressure to be perfect that she couldn't really grasp perfection. It kind of scared her, kind of freaked her out. But if things that she saw were perfect, like snowfall, it's perfectly white everywhere, that kind of triggers her into kind of having one of those episodes that she has. That's why she messed up the storage closet or the room for the student council, because everything was neatly put in its place, and she doesn't like that. Again, that's why she knocked over the chalk and broke most of the pieces. It was a brand new box, but it was perfectly aligned and everything, and she doesn't like that. And that's also just really interesting, because when you really think about it, everybody says that Yuki is perfect, but he really isn't. He just looks perfect on the outside, but Machi can tell that he isn't perfect. She understands that he's also struggling, and perfection is a really hard thing for him to kind of achieve. Maybe he does achieve perfection in certain ways, but she can tell that he's also not really happy with it. So it's definitely a bigger connection that we have found that they do have with each other. Now, after she broke the chalk, Yuki and the rest of the student council are kind of waiting for her to come into the room, and these girls from her class come in and they tell him like, oh my gosh, you should have seen or heard this. Did you hear she broke the chalk? Like, I can't believe she's so disruptive in class. Like, they're just basically talking shit on her, even though it's like, you don't even know what she's going through. Like, there's a perfectly good reason probably for her doing that. Like, don't judge before you know? And so Yuki's just kind of like, okay, I really don't understand what's going on. And of course Machi comes in and kind of like overhears the conversation being had about her. So she runs away, and Manabe and Yuki decide, we need to go talk to her. Now, it's been snowing this whole time, and again, Machi is worried that, oh no, it's going to snow. That means it's going to be perfectly white on the ground. And again, that's like a sign of, perfection. When the snow covers everything, it looks really nice, very even. You have an even amount of snow piling up on itself, and she kind of like gets triggered by that, doesn't really like that, because again, that perfectionism kind of like sets her off. It makes her freak out. Like, I did everything that I was told to be perfect, and I still wasn't perfect enough. Because as we know, or we learn, they're choosing her little brother to be there, not her. Even though she literally grew up doing what her mom told her to do would be perfect, and it didn't work. So that's like basically all she knows. And so again, we also learned last season that she has her own place because and we also hear this rumor from the girls as well, the girls in her class. They say, oh, that she almost did you know that she almost killed her little brother? And it's kind of like, whoa, that's really dark. And even Manabe kind of brings it up to Yuki, and he's like, yeah, apparently she snapped one day and almost killed her little brother, my half-brother. But, we really got to talk to her and see what the actual true story is. So they go to her apartment. Of course, we saw before last season as well that her apartment's not very clean. It's very messy. Again, perfection. If it looks really like put together and clean and tidy, like that's a symbolism of perfection that she just can't really deal with. So, her room is a bit messy. Her apartment's a little, there's trash on the floor. Okay, maybe the trash is a little extreme, but clothes everywhere. She's got her books all over the floor. Maybe the chair's not perfectly put in place or anything, or her bedspread's not perfect. We even see that the window is broken and it's cold, it's still snowing even though the spring is supposed to be here, or that it's almost spring. Basically, Yuki and Manabe come over. They kind of help clean up a little bit. Yuki fixes the broken glass on the window because he's like, I don't want you to get hurt. Having glass on the floor is pretty dangerous. I want to make sure you're okay. Manabe goes to throw the trash out, and then they have a conversation. And we finally learn that Machi did not try to kill her little brother. She basically was worried about him. He was sick at the time, and she's trying to cover him up with a blanket and make sure he's warm, and her parents just kind of walk in the room, and they immediately get upset at her, and they say you're gonna try to hurt him. I guess they're just really fed up with how everything came about. They say that she's just been jealous the whole time, but really she was just concerned. She's concerned about her little brother. She cares about him. And so that's why they kicked her out, basically out of the house, and they said, it probably would be best if you lived somewhere else by yourself. So that's why she lives alone in her own apartment, and her family pays for that shit. But it was not for actual good reasons. It was to keep her away from ruining everything. And so she kind of just laments to Yuki, I've ruined everything. Even though I really wanted to get it done and be perfect, I couldn't. I did everything that they told me to do, and I was still wrong. And Yuki kind of comforts her, and he even asks her, he kind of asks her, do you not like when things are perfect? And she's like, no. She's like, oh my gosh, he understands me. She's kind of surprised. But at this point, it's kind of I totally think that they really do understand each other, and I like that it's kind of showing, and then we get to see and hear them kind of come together within their understandings of each other. She really understands where he's coming from, and now he also understands where she's coming from. And he tells her, I know why you act the way you do, because you don't like that perfectionism. It's something that really bothers you, and that's okay, because you did well. You did what you were supposed to do, and you did a good job. you know, I think you did a good job. And he gives her a little head pat, and it's really cute, and he's like smiling and stuff, and she's just kind of like, oh my gosh, like somebody said that I did good, like he thinks I did a good job. Like you know, she's never heard that before. Nope, neither of her parents have told her like you did a good job, or like probably nobody in the family has told her that she's done a good job. But this guy, this boy that she barely knows. I mean, I guess she knows him a little bit better now, but like basically still this guy that she just met like this year, that she's kind of been observing, like he understands her the best out of anybody. Like I mean, Manabe understands her, but he doesn't kind of like add himself to the conversation, because like obviously he's, you know, kind of like, oh, I know you guys like each other, so he kind of set this up. But then they get very close and you're like, oh, are they gonna kiss? No. Then Manabe ruins the moment and he's like, oh, you guys are totally gonna kiss, huh? And they're kind of just like, oh my god, like go away, like leave us alone. But it was a very sweet moment, and it was very like, you know, very touching. And we can definitely see like the sparks kind of fly between Yuki and Machi a little bit more. Now, the other things that did happen in this episode, so we saw, what's her name? I can't remember her name, this character. The girl who's like the president of the Prince Yuki fan club, that girl that's like obsessed with him. We got this little moment between her and Yuki, and she's basically telling him like, thank you for you know, being here. Like I had so much fun. Because she's a third year, so she's gonna graduate. So she's basically saying like, you know, these 3 years, like I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it was gonna be that special, but it really was, because I was able to have fun, make friends, you know, laugh, and then there was you in the center of it. Like Yuki really made her time at school, in high school, like really worth it, which like that's really nice, you know. I appreciate that. I still don't really like this character. I just still think she's really annoying, and she's kind of just like saying like, oh, you know, I loved you and stuff, and I'm like, you were obsessed with him basically. Like I don't know, it's one of those things I still kind of have trouble like really caring about or sympathizing with, because I mean, like I get it, she was just trying to protect him, I guess, from other girls, but like he wasn't yours to begin with. Come on. But you know, it was a sweet moment. She like was just trying to get her feelings across to him. She's basically confessing to him, like, you know, because she's gonna be leaving soon, and he's just like, you know, thanks, like I appreciate it, you know, I understand what you're saying. And I mean, he wipes her tears. It was very nice of him, very sweet. He's kind of like gonna try to like self-deprecate himself, where he's kind of like, I don't know why you feel that way about me though. Like I'm not that great, but like he doesn't kind of get that far to say it. And she's like, don't even say anything. I don't want to ruin this moment. And how do you know that somebody wasn't pining for me this whole time? Like, you know, she's just trying to kind of play it off, because she's like, you know, if he doesn't accept my feelings, that's fine. I just want him to know how I feel. I want him to understand what I'm trying to say. And then she tells him, like, you know, I hope that you are happy, and if you have found happiness already, I hope that you continue to have even more happiness in the future. You know, like, take care, have a really, you know, great rest of your life. Because, you know, at this point she probably knows that, like, I'm probably never gonna see him again, in terms of like a long-term kind of thing, like school. Like they probably won't go to the same college or university or whatever, or work in the same place, or, you know, be in the same place, you know, 10 years or whatever. So it was very sweet. And then we see that the first year, what's his name? I forget his name too, on the student council. Like earlier he had talked about like, I'm your rival, Yuki. Like we saw that in season 2 when he was introduced, and like he's like, yeah, I have a crush on somebody, and it turns out it was her, the third year. And so he kind of like confesses to her in like the same way, and she's just kind of like, oh, thank you, like she appreciates it, you know. So, you know, happy confessions all around. I mean, they're happy and sad at the same time, but yeah, I mean, they were sweet little moments. We also got a moment between Toru, Kyo, you know, the others. They're kind of decorating for the graduation still. They're putting up the flowers, and yeah, we're just kind of checking in on them. They're decorating and stuff. It's just a cute little thing. And then we see the graduation after that as well, or like interspliced between these kind of scenes that I talked about. So we see the graduation. They sing the graduation song for their school, and now our main cast, you know, Toru, Yuki, Kyo, Uo-chan, Hanajima, like them, you know, the squad basically. Now they're third years, and their third year of high school is gonna start. So we're getting into the quality stuff. And then at the very last scene, we found out that Rin did graduate while she's in the hospital. So Kagoda went to go get her diploma for her because they go to the same high school. And Kagoda's talking to Hattori and Shigure about it. And she's kind of like, yeah, you know, she graduated, and, you know, Shigure is like, well, it's so nice of you to get her diploma for her, Kagoda, you know, that's very nice, that's very sweet of you. And then she's like, yeah, but what hospital is Rin staying in? Because, like, nobody said, and, like, there's, you know, a couple different hospitals, and I haven't checked, you know, I wasn't sure which one she's staying in, and they're kind of, both Hattori and Shigure are both like, oh, you don't have to worry about it. No, I'm sure she's fine. You know, you don't have to worry about visiting her and stuff. And as soon as that happens, you know, I know what's gonna happen. I know what's happening. I was like, that's not where she is. That's not where she is. Rin is not at the hospital. You know, Kagoda has this feeling like maybe Rin's not there. And then we cut to what looks like Akito outside of this building, this small building, which I believe we have seen it before. I won't say what it is just because I don't want to, like, spoil anything for anybody, but I want to try to keep this as, because this is spoilers for, like, later. But yeah, basically Rin is possibly in this building, and Akito has a pair of scissors, and then we see some long strands of hair. So you can probably guess what that means, and that's where we leave the episode. And then we have the next title card, which I believe was read out loud by Rin. So we're gonna focus on Rin next episode, most likely, and it's gonna be very sad. So I hope you guys are ready with some tissues and your best, you know, comfort foods and stuff, because it's gonna be a wild ride from here on out. We are getting into the nitty gritty. We are getting into the BS territory of Fruits Basket. So really, those are all my general you know, thoughts on this episode. I really enjoyed it. Very interesting to kind of see more of Machi and Yuki's relationship. To be honest, I don't remember most of that part of the manga, like between them, because I was more focused on, like, the main story, or like Rin and Hatsuharu and their story. But you know, it is really interesting to, like, kind of go back and, like, you know, see the story kind of fold out in front of me with Yuki and Machi. And you would think I would be more invested when I was reading the manga, because, like, Yuki's my favorite, but I guess it's because, at that point I was like, well, she's not getting with Yuki, so, like, what, I don't, you know, I don't know. But, you know, I'm different now. I'm invested. I like Machi and Yuki. I think it's a cute pairing, very adorable. I think they definitely complete each other. So, you know, I'm very excited to see, like, where that heads. But anyway, I really appreciate you guys for watching and listening, and I'm excited for next week. So if you really like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you already haven't. And, you know, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of the episode. You know, what was your favorite part? Were you shocked? The twists and turns, if there were any for you. I mean, what did you think? And what are you looking forward to next week? And of course, if you also want to go ahead and follow me anywhere else, you know, all my links are in the description down below. I have a Twitter, I have a Twitch channel, and I also have a TikTok that you can interact with as well. And if you also want to go ahead and follow the podcast and subscribe to the podcast, you can do so as also. That's also going to be in the description. And of course, if you want to become a patron for as little as $1 a month, you can also go ahead and click on the Patreon link, so you can go ahead and take a look at the details there. So that way, if you do want your name on screen right now, like you can see here, I have some names here. I do want to thank my $3 and up patrons, both Animepalooza and Elizabeth, for being the best patrons ever. So again, you can learn all of the Patreon info there on my Patreon page. So once again, guys, thank you for enjoying this video. Have fun, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!